He looks like an ordinary old man in a suit, but you will be shocked when you learn his story. Hello friends, each person is born for a specific reason. Each of us has a goal and a mission, but sadly, today only one thing matters most: money. Money surrounds us, and one way or another, we give into the temptation. But at the same time, people often forget one simple rule: the more money you have, the more needs you have, and the more money you start needing. Our story today will be about a simple person, just like you and me, who could have a fortune and live as he pleased, without refusing anything. But despite the fact how weird it sounds, he chose a different path, a path of a person who put down his name in history of a whole country. Let's travel to Egypt, the country of pharaohs and pyramids. No matter how rich the history of the country is, the standard of living is quite low. Many can only dream about basic medical help. As a consequence, doctors in this country became a separate caste of people, and being one of them is a great achievement. Due to the fact that this profession allows a person to live a different kind of life, most of the time they're quite wealthy. The story of the 80-year-old Mohammed Mashali began many years ago, when the young man graduated from the Medical College of Qasr Al-Ain in 1967. Mohammed is not from a rich family. However, that didn't stop his father from saving up quite a big sum of money to help his son study. By the way, this will turn his life around later. After graduation, Mohammed was sent to a public hospital, where he successfully worked for a few years. He lived pretty comfortably, and most probably any person would be happy to be in his position. But our hero was disturbed by something, namely by the fact that he came from an ordinary family and didn't understand why the hospital splits all patients into rich and poor. Once a small boy came for a checkup. He had diabetes and he was screaming from pain. He begged his mother to pay for an insulin shot, but his mother replied that if she buys insulin, then she won't have any money to feed her children. And I remember quite vividly that I was ready to give everything for this child. Then I decided to relieve his suffering by paying for him. Of course, the colleagues tried talking him out of it. You can't help everyone, they said, and why would you want to help the poor? It's not profitable. They simply have no money. These words hurt Mohammed even more, and soon this story would have taken a different turn if he didn't find out the horrifying truth about his father's death. The thing is that when the young man was still on his third year in college, his dad passed away, and as it turned out later, he passed away because he didn't have enough money for treatment. He gave everything that he saved up to Mohammed to pay for studies. Of course, Mohammed didn't have a clue about this and learned the truth years later, and that was the turning point in his life. After graduating, I found out that my father donated his money for my education instead of spending it on his treatment. While I was studying, he was suffering and later passed away. If there was a doctor who could have treated him for free, he would have lived many more years. That is why I promised to God not to take any money for treatment. I need to become a human first. With these words, our hero began his new life. That is 60 already. After such shocking news, Mohammed quit his job and returned to his native town that was drowning in poverty. A huge amount of people didn't have access to treatment. Many died of simple diseases, and Mohammed set out to change everything alone. He started seeing patients at home, help them in any way, and contribute to their recovery. Soon, rumors about a free miracle doctor started spreading, and soon there was a queue in his house. But that didn't scare him. Sometimes he would sleep a couple of hours a day, because there were quite a lot of people, and Mohammed was trying to help everyone in need. Many years have passed, and Dr. Mashali became a legend, but he still continues to do what he set out to do. Despite his age, he still sees patients in the poor district of the town Tanto, in an industrial center, far away from tourists. Even at his age, he works 12 hours a day from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and still helps the poor. What is even more surprising in this story is the fact that the doctor doesn't even have a car. He comes to the clinic on foot. Mohammed decided to put wealth aside. He doesn't even have a mobile phone, and at first glance, he seems to be a beggar himself. Although this is far from true, he has a wife and 3 sons who have become successful people and are engaged in business. But the doctor decided to live like everyone in his town. There is always a queue of several dozen people by the beginning of the reception of patients at the door of the clinic. Well, it's difficult to call it a clinic. The doctor sees his patients in a small office with scuffed walls and tiny corridors. Here, he examines the patients and even takes tests. He has an old microscope that is covered in tape. The majority of locals come to the doctor with different illnesses, starting with a flu and ending at infections. This is normal for poor people who live in the slums. A few years ago, the doctor had to make a fee for a visit to pay for tent. The fee is less than $1 right now. Not everyone pays if a person unemployed or is really sick. Mohammed doesn't only see them, but also provides money for medicine. If I have some money left over after paying for rent, I purchase medicine and give it out later to the poor. If you think that this is it, then you are mistaken. A few years ago, the doctor had a great chance to change his life and spend his veil of years somewhere in the Maldives. His story was shown on TV in 2013. One of the TV programs filmed the story of the good doctor and even organized a fundraiser. The co-owner of a large oil company and generously transferred to the clinic's account the amount of $20,000 and gave the car to the doctor to go to work. The philanthropist was very surprised to find out that Mohammed gave out all the money to patients and sold the car. The money that he got after selling the car, he purchased equipment to run tests. Mohammed commented on his decision, "I believe that this money should be given to those who really need it. So I decided to give it to orphans and pay for the treatment of people. I also decided to sponsor several orphanages. I have a roof over my head and food on the table, and that's all I need right now." As strange as it may sound, but the wife and children supported their husband and father. The only thing he agreed to accept, a new stethoscope in order to continue to help poor people. Now Mohammed is so respected in the city that every man who passes by considers it proper to respect the old man and take off his hat for him. He could easily become mayor of the city, since his level of trust is so high that he is even asked to do so. But Mohammed himself believes that every person should only do what they love, and his whole life's work is to treat poor people. Even according to the most modest and approximate statistics for all of his time, this modest at first glance old man saved more than 10,000 lives, and this is just a huge figure. This is the story of a man named Mohammed Mashali, a man who lived all his life helping poor people and gave up wealth. Friends, I hope you enjoyed the story. Be sure to write your opinion in the comments about this amazing person. But that's probably all for today. Be sure to like the video and we'll see you soon.